Hey, Cortez Ross, founder of TshirtRiches.com. Welcome back to the website. I'm so excited to have you here once again. And yesterday, I've just been going over the emails that I've been getting from you all, and I am literally blown away with some of the ideas that you all have come up with. Now, we talked about the different areas and different niches where you can create t-shirts in, and some of the concepts and ideas that you guys have come up with have literally blown my mind. I am shocked and amazed every day at some of the ideas that people come up with. And that's the point here. God has blessed you with a unique gift, a unique talent, and the only thing you have to do is use your God-given talent. Get it out of your head and get it onto a shirt. It does nothing being stuck in your mind. You have to get it out. So use those talents that God has given you. You can literally take those ideas and start and build an actual company. A company where you're the boss, where you call the shots, set your own hours, make as much money as you're willing to make, and time, really it depends on how much time you're willing to put into the business, but you're able to write your own paycheck, go on vacation, get that dream car, dream home. Maybe you want to send your kid to private school, or maybe you want to move to another area or neighborhood so you have a little bit more safety and security for your family. All of this is possible with the ideas and the concepts that you've come up with. I've seen them. The stuff that you all are sending me, people will pay for that. I showed you proof yesterday that people will buy what you have. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Once you get those ideas created and once you get them onto t-shirts, what do you do next? How do you let the world know about the designs that you have? How do you sell it? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I'll be honest, this is the point at whereby I start to lose people, because we're going to be talking about a topic that people don't want to hear about. They have this fantasy that this thing is easy and that they can do it with no money. Well, I'm going to be honest. If you don't have any money, this is going to be extremely hard for you, extremely difficult. You know, you're going to need some money. You're going to have to spend money on advertising and marketing. This is where the bulk of your money is going to go. It's not going to go into getting the designs made and the t-shirt ideas created. That's the easy part. The bulk of that money is going to go into advertising and marketing your new company, your new brand. The only way people are going to buy your shirts is you have to let them know that you exist. You have to let them know that you have arrived and showed up on the scene, and that you have the baddest, the biggest, the best, the most quality shirts in the world. And that can only happen with marketing and advertising. So if you don't have the money, you might have to get a part-time job and save the money to spend on some advertising. I'm serious, folks. If you go through the motions and get all this stuff created and you don't have any money to throw behind it, then it's just going to sit there. They're over, I can't remember the statistic, but it's somewhere like over 70%, 80% of all the websites that are on the internet don't make a dime. They don't make any money. They don't make a profit. And it's because they just sit there. There's billions of web pages on the internet, and people, how you think they're going to find it? They're not just going to randomly show up on your website. And, you know, so you might have to get a part-time job. I know that's not something that you want to hear about, but that's reality. You're going to have to spend. So I'm going to talk about some of the different things you can do in terms of advertising. And the beauty is this: you don't need $100,000 to start advertising. If your advertising budget is only $100, then you start there, because the money that you get, if you spend $100 and if you bring in, say, $150 worth of business, at least you can reinvest that money back into the business. You're going to have to reinvest. And that's what we did when we got started. Remember, we were sleeping on the floor. I didn't use that money to go buy a bedroom set. I put that money back in the business and reinvested it. And each month it grew and grew and grew. And then later on, I was able to buy that bed. So let's talk about some different ways, but this is important. One of the ways, and in my opinion, the best ways to build a business is with direct mail. Now, I know this idea and concept seems kind of crazy, but bear with me. Let me prove it to you for just a moment. Now, one of the things that we did and I don't have actual catalogs with me here today at the office, but one of the things we did, we used to sell t-shirts for teachers back in the day. That was one of the first sites that we had. And we created these little mini catalogs, and basically the mini catalogs, they looked similar to these, and they had a photograph of a teacher, well, of a model wearing a teacher t-shirt, and then you flip through the catalog and you saw the other designs that you can buy, the different sizes and colors that were available, and it had an order form as well. So there were little miniature catalogs that looked somewhat like these here. And so what we did was, again, teachers, remember yesterday we talked about niches? In other words, picking a niche, going after a particular group of people because it's easier to figure out where they hang out at and put your stuff in front of them. So with teachers, what we did was we did direct mail. With direct mail, you can buy what are called mailing lists. And you can choose all the characteristics of a mailing list. You can choose, say, for instance, you say, I want to buy a mailing list of nothing but teachers. That's it. Because see, with selling teacher t-shirts, you don't want to just randomly mail catalogs to any of your body. The people you want to get the catalog are, you want teachers to get them. So you can buy a mailing list of just teachers. So that's, I'm just throwing out a high number. I want to buy 10,000 names and addresses of all teachers. And not only that, you can specify if you only want to names and addresses of first grade teachers. Maybe you have some t-shirt designs exclusively for third grade teachers. Guess what? You can buy a mailing list exclusively of third grade teachers. And not only that, you can say, hey, I want third grade teachers or elementary school teachers that have credit cards. So you can break this list down. You want the credit card because you want to stack the odds in your favor that when they get your catalog, now you know they have a means of paying for what they like if they browse through your catalog. Another thing you can do, you can specify, I only want lists of names of teachers that have bought clothing or bought stuff through the mail in the past. In the matter of fact, you can specify, I only want a list of names of teachers who bought stuff through the mail in the last 6 months. And the reason why that's important is because not only when you send them the catalog, they have a credit card which they can buy, but these folks already have a history of buying stuff through the mail. So when your stuff shows up, it's not foreign to them, the concept of buying stuff through the mail. So in other words, most of the time what they'll do, they'll get a catalog, there'll be an order number here in the catalog where they can call in and place the order, or what you'll find is the majority of them will go straight to the website and place the order. Very few will actually fill out the order form and send it to you in the mail. But again, that's the beauty of direct mail. You can get specific. If you want to target, say, surfers, people who love surfing, guess what? You can buy a mailing list of surfers. If you have a line of t-shirts that caters to Sunday school teachers, you can buy a mailing list of Sunday school teachers. I mean, these folks, these companies keep tabs on all the stuff we buy. So for example, if some of you are into porn, if you subscribe to porn websites, guess what? You're on somebody's mailing list. If you bought cigarettes through the mail, you're on somebody's mailing list. If you have an American Express, you're on somebody's mailing list. If you donated to what's the word I'm looking for? A dog pound animal shelter. If you donated money to an animal shelter, you're on the mailing list and I can buy your name and address. So that's the beauty of direct mail. I think it's a great way to build a business. Catalogs are an excellent way to get your brand in front of very specific groups of people. I like it. It's my favorite way and I highly suggest it. Now, Another way to sell your shirts, of course, will be online. The internet is huge. It's going to be the biggest asset that you have, so you must have a website if you want to survive, if you want a fighting chance in this business. You must have a presence on the internet. We've sold shirts to people all over the world, places I've never heard of, places I can't pronounce, and we get customers on a regular basis, even to this course, from places from all over the globe. And it's because the website will allow you an international reach. So you're not just stuck to selling your shirts in a small town where there's only 800 people in the population. So once you get your website, one of the things you want to do in terms of advertising and marketing is go find other websites where the niche that you're going after tend to hang out at. So using the example of surfers. Now, if you're into surfing, there are a bunch of websites where these surfers go hang out at. There are message boards, there are forums that surfers hang out at in the community and talk amongst themselves. What you can do is find all of those different websites that cater to surfers, and you'll find that many of those websites will allow you to run advertisements within their website or within their community or within their message boards. So if they have, say for instance, 100,000 surfers on this online forum where they communicate, what better place to advertise your line of t-shirts than in the forum where surfers are hanging out and conversating and talking at. Another thing you can do is search engine marketing. Some people have search engine optimization skills. And search engine optimization basically is a way where these programmers or web designers will modify a site or tweak a site to make them a little more search engine friendly, all in hopes that you will appear on the front page of sites like Google, MSN, Bing, or Yahoo. Now the thing about that is Google and these other search engines can modify and change their algorithms whenever they get ready. And when you're used to being the guy on the front page and now you're on page number 10, so that's why I don't like relying on search engines. You have no control over it, which is why it's important in this business or any other business. You need to take a multi-pronged approach. In other words, you want to be advertising in multiple places so that you can have prospects and traffic coming in from multiple sources, because when one source dries up, you have 6 or 7 other sources continuing to bring you leads and prospects and traffic, and while you're working on replacing that broken source or whatever, your business doesn't tank or fall out. There are a lot of people who rely solely on search engines, and oftentimes they get wiped out overnight when these search engines modify their algorithm. So you don't want to get stuck there. So Google and MSN, Google, Bing, and Yahoo also have what is called paid search. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but basically it allows you to spend some money and some advertising bucks where you can make your ad appear. So if a person goes there online and type in t-shirts for teachers and hit that search button, you will generally see ads on the right hand column of the search engine results page, and you'll also see some ads right up underneath the search bar, and those are paid search ads. People are paying to be there. It's not expensive. It's a great way to get started. We use pay-per-clicks. It's very effective, and it can get you some instant results as well. Another thing you can do is online newsletters. Goes back to choosing a niche. Now, there are niches. Say for instance, if you are a RN, a registered nurse, then chances are there are some websites whereby they have online newsletters where registered nurses subscribe to those newsletters, and the newsletters might be sent out weekly, those newsletters might be sent out monthly, and there might be 50,000 registered nurses that subscribe to that newsletter. Same thing with surfers. There might be 100,000 surfers that subscribe to this newsletter where where the newsletter goes out every month giving them surfing tips. Well, guess what? These newsletters are in business to make money, and they will allow you to advertise your line, your company, your t-shirt company, to those 100,000 surfers. So if you have a line of surfing t-shirts and you want exposure, online newsletters is a great way. And the beauty about it, depending on the size of that newsletter subscriber base, 50,000, 25,000, and 10,000 subscribers, when they send that newsletter out, you can get instant, immediate sales that day, literally hundreds of sales. We've done it in the Christian market, continue to do it. There are some newsletters where we run our ads in and we get hundreds of sales in a day when that newsletter goes out. So newsletters, highly recommended. So look for the different newsletters in your niche and figure out what you can do. Facebook, YouTube advertising, I'm not going to spend too much time on there, but Facebook allows you to select different categories and demographics of who you want to go after. You can also run ads based on location as well. You can run ads based on a person's interest and their hobbies, and so it's a great way. It works, it's extremely effective. And YouTube also has something similar. Say for instance, you can choose different categories to advertise where you want your ad to appear on the videos. So check that source out as well. And again, you're going to use a multi-pronged approach, but again, if your budget is only $100 a month or $200 a month, figure out which of these options are going to be the best one for you. You might find an online newsletter that have 10,000 subscribers and all they charge is $150. And if I'm going to take a gamble, I'm going to gamble it on the online newsletter, because if they have 10,000 people, then I'm going to get immediate exposure on the day they send out that newsletter. That's the route I would rather go if I'm limited on funds. And if I can, get 10,000 people looking at my ad and 3,000 of them make it over to my website, and I'm able to sell a quick, get a quick 30 customers, guess what? I got a good chunk of money, even if it's only $500 or $1,000. Now I can reinvest that money back into the business. Another place, moving right along, print media. I like print media. Most of everybody has abandoned print media in favor of hopping on to the internet to do all their marketing and advertising. So that's good for me, because the rates in offline advertising have dropped. And for example, most of you didn't arrive here on accident. I spent a lot of money and a lot of time, effort, and energy to get you here. You didn't just randomly show up here on this website. Currently I have 2 ads running in these national publications. This one here is called Home Business Magazine, and this one here is called Small Business Opportunities Magazine. And what I have here is a full-page ad. Let me see if you can see this. On this side, I have a full-page ad. This is a full-page ad getting folks to get to my website. Now, as I said earlier, now here's another one. Here's the Small Business Opportunities Magazine, and we have a half-page ad right here. Now, as I said earlier, when you're running your advertisements, you got to ask yourself, the people that are looking for what I have, what sites are they hanging out at? What are they reading? What do they subscribe to? And so obviously in these national publications, these magazines are put on stores like Barnes and Nobles, Kroger, Harris Teeter, Publix, Target, all the major supermarkets, major stores. This magazine is sitting on the rack. Now, I had to ask myself, what magazines are people reading when they want to start their own business? So obviously these magazines came up on the radar, and we ran some ads in there. We want to be there. So when you come flipping through this magazine and you're looking for a business, and maybe you're interested in the t-shirt business, when you see our ad, you come to our website. We spend money. That's what I'm saying. It's going to cost money. Now, I don't expect most of you to start with magazines right away. You have to grow into this. It took us a long time before we got to this point. It didn't happen overnight, and that's all I'm saying. Start with where you're at. Don't stress yourself out. Don't go broke. Don't go bankrupt trying to put yourself in, stress yourself out, trying to take your time and let the business fund itself. Put some of your money in there, but continue to reinvest that money. So magazines are it's a great place to advertise. If you're into surfing, guess what? There's magazines for surfing. If you're into kayaking, there's magazines for those who like to kayak. If you're into bicycling, there's magazines out there for people who enjoy bicycling. Jogging, health, fitness, hair, all types of magazines. Newsletters, just like the online newsletters, guess what? There's printed newsletters that people pay and subscribe to. That's the big difference with the printed newsletters. Most of those require payment. There are newsletters printed newsletters that we advertised in as it relates to the Christian market, because there's Christian newsletter publications, and they mail these newsletters out to their subscribers. We were running ads in those printed publications as well. And so again, figure out where you can find your niche and contact these folks and find out about advertising. Trade journals. Trade journals, basically glorified magazines as it relates to a particular profession. So if you're an attorney, chances are there's a trade journal for the attorneys. If you're into the medical profession, nursing, there's a trade journal for nurses, trade journals for doctors, trade journals for all types of industries. And again, if you make a line of t-shirts that cater to attorneys, guess what? You can run your ads in those trade journals as well. Newspapers, and I'm not talking about your local city newspaper or your major metropolitan newspaper like the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. No, those newspapers are too broad. There are newspapers, just like newsletters in a sense, but there are newspapers that cater to a particular niche. There are Christian newspapers that we ran advertisements in as well. There are newspapers that cater exclusively to college students, and guess what? You can run advertisements as it relates to college students in those papers. So again, this business requires you to do research, and the bulk of your business again is going to revolve around marketing and advertising. So research, you're going to have to research and figure out the best places to run your advertisements in. Another thing you can do, and I'm just talking about a variety of things, radio advertisements. We've run radio ads. Our niche, again, Christian market, targeting churches for fundraisers. And one of the things we did was run ads on radio, Christian radio stations. Very effective. Again, we didn't start there from day one. We grew into that. Our credit was bad at the time. We had to pay our monies up front. They didn't give us a net 30 until after a history was established, and radio advertisements worked extremely well. And again, it was very niched, it was very specific. Another thing you can do is rent booth space. For example, concerts. There are concerts and events that come to town almost every week in your area. And Christian concerts, like one of the things that you can do is rent booth space and put your line of Christian t-shirts in the back of the booth. And that's, that's a thing that you can do. So irregardless of who's coming to town or whatever event is happening in your area, you can rent booth space based on the audience that particular event caters to and sell your shirts there. Trade shows. There are trade shows happening all over the country at any given time. I'm going to use the example of surfing once again. For example, there are surfing trade shows, and if you are a vendor, if you have something that you want to sell, there are retailers and buyers from all over the country, all over the world, that will attend these trade shows just to shop. So if you have, say for instance, a line of surfing t-shirts, or if you make some surfing apparel, or if you sell surfing gear, generally what happens, you set up a booth, and these people who own these stores and retail locations, and they'll come and they'll just walk around looking at the different stuff that's at the trade show, and they will buy, they will order on the spot. And so that's another way you can get your stuff into some of the stores around the country. We lead into the next thing. getting your t-shirts into stores. Again, one way is to be able to be at these trade shows so that people can order from you and see what you have. Another way is to contact these boutiques and stores directly. And one of the things you're going to need is a line sheet. A line sheet, L-I-N-E, line sheet, is essentially like a glorified catalog, and it basically shows the different designs that you have. It lets them know the colors that are available, the different sizes that are available. It'll also list the wholesale rate and suggested retail rate. It'll have an order form so that that store owner or boutique owner can order. It'll have an order cutoff date, and it'll also have some information about the approximate date that you plan to ship the orders to these individuals as well. Also, it will have a sales contact person, the person to contact as it relates to placing the order. And generally with the line sheet, you will send some samples of your shirts to these individual stores. And it can get expensive because you might decide to mail packages out to 50 different stores and boutiques. And but again, that's the cost of business. But that's another way to get into the store, and you can easily spend a few $1,000s creating a good line sheet that works, because you might have to test different ones to see which one's going to work out best for you. So that's just some of the ways. As I said earlier, don't get discouraged. You start at one place and then you continue to add on and you continue to grow. This is not an overnight thing. Again, it may require you to get a part-time job, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, especially if you believe in the vision that you have. You know, so consider that, because at some point you're gonna have to make some sacrifices and make some decisions. You have to determine how bad do you really want this thing here. Prot J300 program that we put together. Basically what I'm doing in Prot J300, I'm starting a brand new t-shirt company from scratch. Actually, it's going to center around teachers. I haven't sold teacher t-shirts in many years. My marketing and my advertising skill sets have grown since then. And so what we're going to do is start a teacher t-shirt website from scratch. And basically what we're going to do is document and record everything that we do. You'll be able to kind of look over my shoulder and see what we're doing. I'm going to put together a business plan. I'm going to write it out. I'm going to have the template. I'm going to provide the template to you as well, and encourage you to write a business plan out as well. I'll post my business plan once I complete it to the website for you to review as well. And let's talk about this business plan. Most of these businesses that get started, not just t-shirts, but any business in general, most of them do not have a business plan. And I'll tell you this, if you don't have a business plan and you're just randomly doing this, it's completely foolish, absolutely foolish. If I decided I wanted to get in my car right now and drive to Wyoming, I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to get there. I have to map this thing out. I have to pull up the GPS. I have to type in some coordinates or an address so it can show me how to get from point A to point B. And that's exactly what a business plan does for your t-shirt company. It's going to tell you everything, especially if you decide that, if you figure out or determined that you don't have the money, and you want to go borrow money from mom, dad, uncle, auntie, nephew, niece, grandpa, granddad, mom, or whomever. If you want to go borrow the money, you better have a doggone business plan handy, because before anybody loan you any money, they need to know that there's a reasonable chance for them to get their money back. And the best way to prove that is to have a solid business plan already written out and drafted out. And better than that is you might as well have some designs at least created, not necessarily on shirts, but show them the actual designs that you anticipate on marketing and advertising. And if you could put that into a plan and show it to your friends and relatives, I assure you there's some folks that you know, or folks that know some folks that have some money that's just sitting there. I mean, think about it. These folks are only earning 2%, 3% interest on their money in the bank, and they got wads of money just sitting there. they'd rather make more money. And if you have a plan that can show them that they can make some money off of your ideas or your company, they'll invest. But you got to be serious. Don't approach anybody if you don't have a business plan. And I say, don't even start your business unless you sit down and map this thing out. You need a plan, folks. You need a plan. But anyhow, we'll do that in the Prot J300. We'll go through the process step by step. It'll encourage you to write one, put one up. We'll review your business plan if you'd like us to review it after you write it up as well. We'll talk about things like how to get the license. We'll talk about stuff like building a collection. We're going to do some advertising in this program. You'll be able to see us how we pick our advertisements. I'll even record some of the calls when I call some of these folks to talk to them about running ads, get some basic probing questions. So you'll see everything. We'll take this thing from A to Z. I'm going to start it from scratch, and we're going to build it up to the point we're going to put the website together, and we're going to set everything up. You'll see us get the first order. Some of the advertising that we'll run, some of it'll work, some of it won't work. I don't know. You'll see everything from A to Z. So howtobuy.com name. What else? We're going to provide you with a bunch of suppliers and vendors where you can buy your stuff from. And so there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to cover in the Prot J300. I got some more information below this video. I got some incredible bonuses that I'm going to throw in. And one of the big bonuses is going to cover us creating your first t-shirt design idea for free. So that idea that you have just twirling around, it's time to get that thing out. There's no excuse. You can easily spend a few $100s getting that idea created. We're going to do it for you for free if you're one of the first 300 proteges to sign up into the program. And there's a lot of stuff. So scroll on down, read what we got. I'm throwing in a whole course as well. Our core t-shirt signature, our T-shirt Riches signature product, our core course, where we're going to teach you everything about incorporating your business, opening up a business bank account, getting that business license, how to create a collection, how to get your brand out there, an interview with a trademark attorney, a whole bunch of stuff. So take a look at that. If you have any questions, feel free to post your comments and questions below or email us. My name is Cartes Ross, founder of TshirtRiches.com. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful, wonderful day.